Today is December 15th, 2022. My name is Charles Suter, and today I'm presenting the power of acceptance. My main message: a good first response to adversity is acceptance. In the presence of adversity, most people respond with emotional distress and instinctive behaviors such as fight or flight. However, unless the situation is one of imminent danger, and there's not very many of those in the modern world, these types of emotionally driven responses are not necessarily beneficial to getting relief from stressful events. If you train your mind-body to respond to adverse circumstances with acceptance, it will allow you to remain calm and respond appropriately with actions chosen rationally without the sway of hyperactive emotions. Not only would you avoid unnecessary emotional distress by starting your first response with acceptance, you would also make better decisions, get better outcomes, and have them sooner. Proposition 1. Once you remember that everything that happens, whether it's good or bad, happens for a reason, even the bad stuff. Events happen only when all the right conditions are present. So if the right conditions are present, then you're going to get what you get. Adversity tends to happen due to the laws of chance, and that's the good and the bad. Also, I want you to remember that nature is neutral. The outer world is neither for or against anyone, and that includes you. So before jumping to conclusions when circumstances turn unfavorable, stop and think before you react. Every event is the product of a confluence of conditions that collectively cause the events. If these collective conditions were not present, the outcome would be entirely different. Life and nature are not out to get you. All outcomes are the result of preceding events, chance, and the laws of nature. Rather than railing against the outer world when you don't get the outcomes you wanted, you would get better results if you deal with the outer world rationally. The first step to dealing with reality is to accept what is and face the facts. After adversity strikes, it's too late to prevent it. Now you have to deal with it. All you can do is choose rationally how to handle any situation that you're facing, and search for and pursue any hidden opportunities that just might be present. Proposition 2. Acceptance avoids the onset of emotional distress. Most people respond to adversity with negativity. Without the negativity, emotional distress is very much likely. I should say very much less likely. Emotional distress is not essential to resolve adversity or any problems that you face. Anyone who fails to accept adversity is prone to becoming emotionally upset, which will cause them to resist reality, sometimes in inappropriate ways, making matters worse. As a starting point, by accepting circumstances you do not prefer, you position yourself to handle problems with a clear mind, rather than blindly obeying the triads of a disturbed mind. An upset mind tends to make poor choices and then executes them poorly. You do have control over your inner world, even though you don't have control over your outer world. So by keeping your cool, you'll make better choices, leading you to better resolutions to any problems presented by the outer world. Proposition 3. With a clear, accepting mind, you can choose your responses. A negative mindset, however, tends to diminish clear thinking, and you need the clear thinking if you want to resolve your problems. An upset mind tends to make poor decisions, and poor decisions often lead to bad outcomes. Acceptance, on the other hand, leads to better responses and hence better outcomes. Just because Mother Nature has presented you with a set of unfavorable circumstances doesn't mean you have to like it or do nothing about it. You don't have to remain passive. You do have choices. You can choose to accept your circumstances if you feel you can't control them, or move on, or attempt to modify events in the outer world in your favor by some thoughtful actions to improve your circumstances. You always have a choice, but to choose wisely requires a clear mind that is not clouded by the negativity of emotional distress. It is acceptance that gives you a clear mind. Now, my final message is just because you accept your circumstances is not a sign of resignation or passivity, but is simply a prelude to effective action. Life is sometimes messy, sometimes a bumpy road, where things don't go the way you expected, planned, or intended. When you hit a roadblock, don't despair or start fighting against the reality of your situation. Instead, if the situation is not life-threatening, and most adversity is not, then train yourself to pause, think, and accept what is, at least for the moment. Then with a clear mind, uninterrupted by emotional distress, you can choose rational ways to deal with adversity, to either attempt to restore the situation as it was, or at least to find options for making the situation less offensive. Well, that's all for now. Remember to stay positive. You'll be happier, healthier, and live longer.